welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and as you can see from our introduction, for the next hour we're going to be talking about Burlington's version of Relay for Life, as well as the global, I don't know, we'll find out about that in a minute, Relay for Life as well. Before I begin, Linda Speaks, take two. Before I begin, I would like to invite you to give us a call this evening if you have a question for my wonderful guest, whom you will meet momentarily. You can always give us a call at 781-270-9199. Or, if you don't have your phone handy, you can always email me at talk@bcattv.org if you have a question for our guest, or if you have a suggestion for a future topic. I'd love hearing from you. This evening, for our crew, we have Chris Flaherty, who is one of the staff members here, making sure that us volunteers behave ourselves and always shows our best side. So thank you, Chris. And we also have volunteers Evan McNamee and Luke, and I already forgot Luke's last name. Luke, thank you. Both of them have given up their Wednesday evenings to come hang out at BCAT, and for that I am forever grateful. And because my son Evan is here, there is no daddy date night tonight. So hopefully daddy is having fun doing daddy stuff. So, housekeeping aside, I would like to introduce my wonderful guest, Nikki Pladziewicz.
That's correct. Thank you
Close,
for having me.
But thank you so much for coming. So you are the lead volunteer for Burlington's Relay for Life. So
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Before we get into the relay itself and how you became involved, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself in general, where you grew up, where you went to school, how you came to the Burlington area, although I just found out that you kind of didn't eventually come. But anyway, tell us your version.
Of course. So, hello again. My name is Nikki Pladziewicz, and I'm a volunteer with Burlington Relay for Life. So I grew up here in Burlington.
Ooh.
I moved here when I was 2.
Okay.
And I just recently moved to Tingsboro in 2020. But I did graduate from Burlington High School in 2014.
Go Red Devils.
So Burlington has always been my home.
Yay.
Yeah, so my Relay for Life journey began in 2015. So I was a freshman at UMass Lowell. I was looking to give back to my community, and I wanted to volunteer. Even though at the time I didn't really know much about Relay for Life, I still wanted to volunteer. So I donated my time at the raffle tent, and I really got the full effect of Relay for Life.
Okay,
and
so it was like at the actual relay?
Yes. So I've never been to one prior to this, and it really hit home for me. My uncle was diagnosed with brain cancer 10 years ago. So after understanding Relay's mission, I wanted to create a team for him in his honor. So the team name is Team Coach Frank, and I've been having a team for him every year ever since.
Cool. So
Yeah.
when did you start having your team?
The following year, so
the following
2016.
year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So does Lowell, since you said you went to UMass Lowell, was the relay in Lowell?
I believe they have their own events, but I just was in
I'm
Burlington.
just wondering what you volunteered for.
Yeah, no, it was here at
Oh, it was the
Burlington.
Burlington
Yes,
one.
it was the Burlington one. I'm sorry, I should have been more specific.
No,
but
that's
yes,
okay.
but I wanted to give back my time, and I found Burlington Relay for Life, and I figured I would donate a couple hours at the raffle tent, and that really just kind of sucked me in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Volunteering kind of has that impact on people. As
It
soon as
does.
you start, it's like big end. So what exactly, you mentioned the mission and the goal of Relay for Life. What is the purpose of Relay?
So I think the purpose of Relay is really multifaceted. So I think it's for not only just saving lives, but also remembering those that have lost their lives. And it's also preventing cancer deaths and trying to find, new research and new ways for people to stay healthy and things like that.
So the monies raised by the teams is then used for research and development?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things the money goes to. So it's not only just research as well, but we also have educational resources as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
On cancer.org. We also have a 24/7 hotline that
okay.
can help any cancer survivors, their families, caregivers, and that's 24/7, 365.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a great resource. We also have ACS CAN, which works hand in hand with like local governments, state and federal governments as well,
okay.
to try to get certain missions across. So here locally in Massachusetts, ACS CAN helped get rid of flavored tobacco products, which led to a decrease in tobacco sales, which I think is awesome. And we also provide different services to cancer survivors and their families as well.
Okay.
So we have a Hope Lodge in different areas around the country, but we have one locally in Boston.
Oh, okay.
So those house
Like-
cancer patients and their families
Okay.
that are seeking treatment that aren't in the Boston area and need a place to lodge.
Okay.
And we also provide free rides to cancer patients that don't have access to
wow.
health treatments. Yeah.
So, where are some of these patients coming from? Because, again, the country is really big, and there seem to be cancer treatments in a lot of areas. Why would people, again, tangent, why would people come to Boston specifically? Do you know?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. One, Boston is obviously well known for their medical fields, and they're one of the leading cities in the United States for their medical care. But a lot of, like I said, there's different Hope Lodges around the country, so they try to pair up people with the closest Hope Lodge.
Oh, okay.
So it's usually people in the New England region that will go to the Boston Hope Lodge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I just wasn't sure if like Boston was known for treating a specific kind of cancer, or if it was just like a geographic thing, like you just explained.
Exactly.
Cool. And the transportation, is it like volunteer drivers, or is it just like paying Uber fares, or?
It's volunteer drivers. So it's, like you said, almost like an Uber, but for cancer patients. So people will donate their time to give rides to cancer patients that wouldn't otherwise have access to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive, because I'm terrified of driving in downtown Boston. So when, Relay for Life, you had mentioned that it kind of brings people together to honor the survivors as well as remember those who have passed. But is it also like just kind of building camaraderie for those just impacted, not necessarily the survivors themselves, but just like college students?
Yes. So we have, like you said, a lot of different things for survivors. We have a special survivor lab. We have a survivor speaker. We have our Luminaria ceremony that also honors those who are battling cancer and those who have passed away. We also have a caregiver lab. We also have a caregiver speaker. And then we also have community events that everyone can participate in. So we have a little mixture of everything in our event. Yeah.
So let's talk about specifically this upcoming Relay for Life. Has a date been, I think a date's been determined.
Yes, so we recently appeared in front of the Board of Selectmen, and we got approved for a permit at the Town Common. We're so excited. We're so excited.
Love the central location.
Yes, it's our first Relay for Life event in person in the past 2 years. We've been holding it virtually, so we are so excited to have it back in person. So it'll be taking place this year, Saturday, June 18th from 2 to 9 p.m. with a rain date of June 25th. Traditionally, we'd have it here at the Burlington High School, but we're going to be having it at the Town Common this year instead.
Okay, well, when you first hear the term relay, and I went to some a long time ago, and I've also participated in the Burlington one. There's a lap, there's a track, so it actually is a relay. You're walking. Where are you going to walk on the Town Common? Just around the perimeter? Or?
We're hoping to utilize, even though it's small, the concrete circle that goes around the gazebo. Obviously, it's
okay.
not the most perfect solution given the circumstances,
Okay.
but we're going to do the best we can to simulate it like a traditional relay would go.
Okay.
And I think personally that would keep things safer, especially in light of COVID. If everyone's
Right.
traveling in the same direction, it won't, cause
Right.
people to pass one another.
And far enough away from Cambridge Street. Because,
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be a little scary itself. And how's the date determined? One, is it always like in June? So when it was at the BHS athletic field, I don't remember what time of year. Has it always been June? And how is it coordinated with like other relays? Are they all on the same weekend? Are they all in the spring? Or can you do them, whenever? Because Florida might want to do theirs in January.
So colleges usually have their Relay for Life events in April and May.
Okay.
And then community ones are usually taking place in May and June. So traditionally, Burlington has had theirs like the second week in June, and we try to hold true to that. But unfortunately, there was an unavailable time and date that we wanted with the town. So the 18th was open and available, so we took it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I don't know if it's originally, but in the past, the Relay for Life has been like a 24-hour or an overnight thing where everybody shows up and sets up tents, and the luminarias,
Luminarias, yes.
luminarias, the candles all around the track. So it's, sunset, the dark, and then there's activities, and then you wake up the next morning and there are people like walking around at 2 a.m. Obviously you can't do that this year, but what are the plans are there plans to eventually bring it back to that 24-hour?
So we're hoping next year that we could bring it for the 12-hour overnight event.
Oh, okay.
But this year, of course, having it in the town common, we obviously can't have an overnight event. That would not be very safe. But we're going to do everything in our power to keep our relay traditions alive.
Okay.
So like you said, we had tents in the past. We're hoping to have some sort of table for each team instead of a tent, or people are just welcome to kind of just make a little team area for themselves. We're also going to keep like the same structures that we've had in the past. We're still going to have the Luminaria ceremony that everyone knows and loves. We're still going to have like our opening speeches. We're still going to have our special laps. We're still going to have our special table set up. Like we usually have a survivor table, for example. So we're still hoping to keep the same relay traditions, but with a fun little twist. We're hoping to have a DJ. We're hoping to have some local businesses in town do some fun, exciting things. For example, we've had kickboxing in the past.
Oh, cool.
We have a raffle tent every year. So we're going to try to keep things the same, but we also want to add some fun, exciting things now that we have it back in person.
And are you tempted to go back to that raffle tent like you started, or no? You're like, nope, been there, done that. I'm done.
No, I am. I will definitely be participating in the raffle tent, but whether I'll be volunteering the full length, probably not. But we have a great team that will be staffing it, though.
So are you doing your own team?
Yes. So every year I do Team Coach Frank. So I have a team of family and friends that join every year, and they help me in my fundraising efforts. And I also have just like little fundraisers here and there just to help move the fundraising efforts along.
So how can you find that balance between being the overall coordinator of the entire event and then maintain that personal connection to your team?
It takes a village. So it's not just me that helps delegate everything with Relay for Life. We have a dedicated team of volunteers that help year round. So we usually delegate tasks to certain volunteers that will help move the process along. And then on my own personal team with Team Coach Frank, it's the same thing. I have family and friends that are willing and able to help me fundraise, help with anything I need. So it's not just me doing everything, and it's really nice having so many people.
Show.
Exactly, the Nikki Show. But it's just nice having everyone just kind of come together and help everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things Okay, pre-COVID. How long has the relay been around?
So for Burlington itself, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Like I said, I started in 2015. But in general, it started in 1985. So Dr.
so
Gordy Klatt kicked it off. He did a 24-hour walk in Tacoma, Washington.
Wow.
Yes, and that birthed what we know as Relay for Life, and it's
Okay.
now the world's largest event for preventing cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, it takes
So-
that one person.
Washington all the way nationwide.
And it's
Wow.
international.
It's international
Yes,
too?
it is.
Wow.
I know. It's just amazing to be a part of such a big
That is really cool. How has the
organization.
event changed over time? Because it's called a relay, and the first time I heard of it, I thought that like, okay, I'll do a lap, and then when I'm done, you do a lap, and when you're done, somebody. Do you know if that's how it was originally scheduled, or is it just as long as somebody from the team is walking, or?
Yeah, so how it started was just him doing it by himself, and how it became Relay for Life is people were watching this gentleman walk around the track for 24 hours straight nonstop, and that kind of drew in a crowd. As time went on, we had built relay traditions like I had explained with the different ceremonies and things like that. So over time, the traditions have changed, but each community does like a little twist. So for example, we have always done an overnight event, but other communities will do what we're doing now and just do like a daytime event, or only do it for a couple hours instead of 12. So it's like the same concept, but just applied in different ways in different communities.
So there's always like the walking and the relay component, and then after that, it's like knock yourselves out.
Exactly.
Have fun.
Our concept pre-COVID was cancer never sleeps and neither do we. So that's where you got the idea from, that everyone, at least one person from every team would be on the track at all times. And it also symbolizes the importance of having, a connected network of family and friends supporting a cancer survivor. Because it's never just one person that struggles when someone has a diagnosis. It also affects their family and friends. So it's symbolic that not only does cancer never sleep and neither do we, but it's also symbolic in the sense that, it takes everyone to make it happen.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
So how would someone go about, well, actually, before we get into that, teams. How do you go about identifying who's on a team, how big a team is, fundraising minimums for team participation? Is there like a registration fee?
So there's no fees to join.
How does that work?
So anyone who's interested in joining can visit our website at www.relayforlife.org/BurlingtonMA. Right on the homepage, it's very simple. You can register, you can donate, or you can donate for a Luminaria bag right on the website. It's a very easy, just informational-based application process. You can either just participate alone, you can create a team, you can join a team. There's no registration fees, there's no minimums or anything like that. We do encourage people to donate or fundraise up to $100, but of course people can set their own goals for their team and for themselves.
Is there like a fundraising competition?
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it can get very competitive. Or even in my own team sometimes, it's family and friend based, so sometimes we'll have some friendly competition between family members. So it makes it fun.
It's going to be hard because usually it's like your family and friends are all the people that you go to for fundraising, and you're like, oh wait, I can't do that this time.
Yeah.
It's like, darn, missed opportunity. So we mentioned that this year, we talked about traditionally back in 1985, this is how it started and this is kind of how it evolved, and then COVID happened. So what happened for Burlington's Relay for Life not really an organization, but what happened to Burlington's version of Relay for Life during the pandemic?
It was such a struggle, to be honest. So, of course, COVID hit around February or March, and that's really when we start to peak. Because we usually have our event in June. So right around that time is when we had our kickoff event. I know
it's painful.
So it was very painful, and given only 3 months until our event, we didn't know if we were going to have it in person or not.
It was only supposed to be 2 weeks.
It was exactly. It was only supposed to be 2 weeks, and then it led to 4 weeks, and then 6 weeks, and so on and so forth. So it was really difficult kind of gauging whether we were even going to have it in person to begin with.
Right.
And then we just got to a certain point that we knew it would have to be virtual. But at that point, with the short notice, we did everything we could to try to keep our relay traditions that were in person and translate them over to a virtual setting.
That had to be hard.
It was very difficult.
What were some of the options or
So we strictly did Facebook. Of course, we didn't know how to even go about doing it on our ACS website. So we have a Facebook page that we were utilizing for that. So we did, like I said, our opening ceremony, caregiver speech, our survivor speech, things like that, the luminaria ceremony online. So although we were still maintaining all those same traditions, not being able to come together as a community really took away that powerful feeling that at least I have every time I go to relay. So it was just disappointing because we had put so much time and energy and excitement into having our relay event, and then just having to do it in a virtual setting. It's just not the same.
So that was 2020.
And we had the same.
Anything done in 21?
Same thing, 2021. We had it virtual, so we did both Facebook and Instagram just so we could reach more people.
I'm horrible with Instagram.
I know, and it's very difficult too, because we were just doing posts. So it was really hard to follow it per se, unless you were on our Facebook page or Instagram. So it was just very difficult trying to coordinate things. Try to find different, local businesses in the area that would donate videos and things like that. But we had a better idea of what we were doing in 2021, but still the virtual
still had a little
setting.
More time to plan.
Yeah, but still the virtual setting, it still just kind of takes away. Yeah.
Now, were you still able to do like the raffle fundraising with the virtual, or like a silent auction type thing? Because you really can't do a raffle virtually, I don't think.
Yeah, so last year we had a calendar for the month of May. So each day we had like a special gift card or giveaway that people could donate, and then we did different raffle drawings for each day. And then June leading up to our virtual event, we had like a special raffle giveaway for some of our bigger prizes.
Okay. So how does the raffle work, or how will it work this year?
So this year, we're still collecting any donations from local businesses in the area. Traditionally, in this year, we'll have a special raffle tent. We don't set the pricing yet. We usually wait until we have an understanding of how much raffle items we have and the approximate pricing for each item. But traditionally,
You mean like pricing this in value?
Yes. Okay. So it'll be, X amount of dollars for X amount of tickets.
Oh, okay. That's what you mean.
Yes. So people will come up, they'll make a donation, they'll receive a certain number of raffle tickets. They can walk around, look at the different raffle items that are available to them. They would drop a ticket in front of the little basket for each raffle item, and then maybe an hour or two before the end of the Relay for Life event, we'll do a raffle drawing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
exciting.
It is.
Must be present to win?
No. So what we have been doing before COVID, and what we're going to do this year, is we have little index cards that are numbered. It saves us time, and it saves our participants time, because instead of having to write your name and telephone number on each raffle number, you just go number 1, Nikki Pladziewicz, 781, blah, 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 and an email address if you want. And then on the back of each raffle ticket, you would just write 1. So when we pull a 1, brilliant. A 17 or whatever, we just pull the index card, you have your name and number.
Name, address, phone number, email.
Yes, we learned the hard way. So
I think everybody goes through that growing pain. And they all come up with something different.
Yes.
So
It wasn't my idea, but we'll do it. We'll take it.
You said we. You acknowledged that,
Yeah. So.
Well, that's cool. So how would somebody go about, like, donating a raffle basket or raffle item?
So they could reach out to me by email. My email is Nikki, that's NIKKI, ANN.PLAD@gmail.com. I am try to do my best for answering emails, but I have been reaching out to different local companies in the area, just asking for a sponsorship or a donation.
Okay.
A large majority of our fundraising efforts for Burlington Relay for Life as a whole come from our raffles.
Oh, okay.
We have been very fortunate to have such a supportive community.
Oh, yeah, Burlington's awesome. In
They
that respect.
are.
Well, they're awesome in lots of respects, but yeah.
Yes, so we
businesses are
have
really
a
amazing.
very caring and supportive community, so we've been very fortunate in that regard.
How big is, I know I'm bouncing around and I apologize.
It's okay.
There is a committee planning Burlington's Relay for Life. How big is that committee, and is it all volunteers? We just mentioned the figuring out, the raffle prizes. and all
Yeah,
that
so
kind of
we
stuff.
have about 5 to 7 event leadership team members that help pull everything together. We have our American Cancer Society representative, Brianna Abrazizi. She works directly with the American Cancer Society.
Okay.
She has been a major asset to our team in helping everything
Go, Brianna.
move along. Yes, go Brianna, thank you. So we've been really fortunate. Huge shout out to Tiffany Freeman and Sandy and Brogna for helping as well. They've been very helpful in planning this entire process.
You know how I mentioned that I had somebody on the show many, many years ago? It was Tiffany.
It was Tiffany. Thank you, Tiff.
It was like 2013, 2014, like way back when the show first started. Well, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And how long is that commitment? When do you guys start planning the relay?
Honestly, there's no beginning or end. It just continues year
Okay,
round.
we're done. Let's start. In 10 minutes, synchronized watchers.
Exactly. So after our big Relay for Life event in June, we still will hold, fundraisers, collect the last of our monies for the year until maybe like August or September. We'll usually take like a short little breather amongst ourselves for maybe a month or two. And then right around October, we start picking back up again and start trying to plan the following year, get our team situated, figure out what we want to keep. Relay, of course, relay traditions always stay.
Right.
But, what we did differently that we want to keep, what we did differently that we want to scrap.
That didn't work.
Exactly. And it happens, but it's all trial and error every year, and we always work to make Relay for Life the best it can be each year.
And a lot of times, not to say that, oh, this didn't work, but this was cool, but how can we make it better?
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. How many teams in the past have participated in Burlington's Relay for Life?
I'd say about 20 to 30, but the tricky thing about Relay for Life is a lot of people will tend to show up for Relay because they'll go with family or friends that have signed up. So although on paper there'll be a couple hundred people that have, enlisted and signed up as a team member or a team captain, a lot of people will just come to check it out. So it's very difficult to try to gauge. But in the past, we've usually had about 20 to 30 teams, varying in all different sizes.
Right. Well, like you just said, you might have a team of 5 and then 20 other people show up to support those 5 people.
Exactly.
So, for the actual ceremony itself and the relay itself, we've mentioned a couple of times certain traditions that remain alive, like the survivor speech, survivor presenter. How do you go about choosing a speaker for either the survivor speaker or the caregiver speaker? I mean, there's so many people out there that are really good speakers.
We try to find people that haven't spoken in the past, and we try to find someone that is willing to do it. Of course, everyone has a different cancer journey, and some people aren't willing to share their stories yet, and some people are. So it really just is a word of mouth, first come, first serve basis as to who's willing and able to speak, whether it be for a survivor or a caregiver speech.
Is that something like your committee of 5 to 7 determines? Or?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so that goes into the planning as well.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Let's talk a little bit more about like the tie-in events, because yes, there's a raffle. Yes, there's the relay. Actually, let's go back to the ceremony itself. Luminarias. Is there like a presentation for that?
Yes.
Or how does that work?
So that is my all-time favorite ceremony of the whole relay. That's what sucked me in. Okay, so we usually do it at sundown as the sun is setting. We'll have our event leadership team members read a poem. Throughout the poem, there are certain breaking points where we'll say each participant is walking for this type of family member. You would crack a glow stick that we would provide ahead of time. So for example, it would be crack your glow stick if you're walking for your parents or a sibling, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So by the time we get to the end of the poem, everyone should have had a cracked glow stick.
Okay.
So at the end of the poem, we gather together as a community and we walk what would have been Burlington High School track, aligned with luminaria bags that would be lit up as well. And we all walk together in silence.
The glow sticks go in the bags, or
so
the
they're
bags
already pre-placed, yes. But people, as they walk, a lot of people try to find their bags, so people will drop them in as well. But I just love that event so much. I find it so symbolic. Each bag represents someone that has either lost their lives to cancer or who has been diagnosed with cancer, or someone that's overcame their diagnosis. So it just really goes to show how many people in the community have been affected.
Wow.
And just to share a personal story as well, it means a lot to me as well. My uncle had come to all the Relay for Life events prior to COVID, and he just shared with me that seeing all those bags, that he didn't feel alone.
Wow.
I know. I don't want to
cry. I'm
cry. But that's why I do it, though. Because it means not even just so much to him, but it means so much to me and my family and friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Now, when I had attended, I have not been to a lot. At one point in time, donor or the luminarias were designed by the family member placing them there.
That's
Do
still
they still
correct.
get to do that?
Yes. So if people purchase, donate and get a bag ahead of time, you can decorate them and then you could submit them, I believe, to ACS, or I can come pick them up. I am totally okay with that. But we also will have a table at Relay where people can make a donation in exchange for a bag and decorate them right there on the spot.
Cool.
And then right before the event, we start opening the bags and putting, rocks or some type of thing to hold the bag in place.
Yeah, because you don't want them to blow away.
Yeah, it's happened. So we'll have it lined around where people are going to be walking. Yeah, and like I said, and each bag represents a person. So.
Yeah.
It's just a really special event.
That is really cool. So those are the events, or am I missing any of the highlights for the actual relay?
I think we got it covered. We have our opening ceremony.
Okay.
I usually say a short little something just welcoming everyone. We'll have our survivor speaker, caregiver speaker. We usually have a healthcare provider come speak as well.
Okay.
Usually it's from Leahy Health. We haven't had anything like set in stone for this year, but I'm hoping someone can come again this year.
That'd be nice.
Throughout the day, we'll have like different activities and things like that. Luminaria is our next big ceremony, and then we have a closing ceremony.
Okay. What are some of those activities?
So in the past, we've had the kickboxing. When we've had the Burlington High School track and field, there's been everything from capture the flag to the big beach balls. So there's so many different things going on. And then sometimes we'll have teams do their own special like little events.
Oh,
So the
okay.
last time we had relay, there was tarot card readings, there was massages,
Oh, wow.
there was, I think Miles from Mara does lap trackers. So each time you walk a lap,
like
you
a
grab a bead.
Oh,
And at the end of the
neat.
night, your strand gets longer and longer with beads, and I
That's
keep all of mine every
cool.
year. So each team, for the most part, will do something special at their little station
Oh, okay.
to help not even just fundraise, but just to make Relay for Life a little more fun.
Yeah, keep it interesting.
Exactly.
Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you were talking about, instead of having tents this year, because obviously they're not staying overnight, but you mentioned the tables, and I'm like, is that just like where the donuts are if your team gets hungry? Or, well, could be, but, so that's, it kind of encourages like just something to engage.
Exactly.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Are there any other events leading up to, community events leading up to the relay or after the relay, kind of like a follow-up? Because, if you're attending relay on a regular basis, I can imagine you become friends with other individuals that are participating, and a year's a really long time
It is.
not to see these people.
Exactly. We are hoping to have our kickoff event somewhere at the end of March, early April. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone.
I'm not going to hold you to
No,
anything.
we just got approved by the town to have an in-person event, so that was like mission number one.
Yes.
So we're hoping to have our traditional kickoff that
Okay.
usually happens roughly 2 to 3 months before our actual Relay for Life event. So like I said, we're aiming towards end of March, early April. We're hoping to have it maybe like a hotel or a restaurant, and make it more conversational rather than like a speech or a sit-down type of thing.
Like a little networking event.
Exactly. That's exactly how it was
I
pitched.
love it. So what generally happens at that kickoff event?
So usually we invite people, to come to our Relay for Life event. So we'll share like the date, the time, the location. We'll try to invite people that haven't been to Relay for Life before. I think it's a great way for people to learn more about what Relay for Life is about. It also helps seeing other members in the community that they might know that are also attending Relay for Life. And it's a great opportunity to ask questions too. A lot of people might not be sure what it is, or how do I sign up, where do I go? So it just provides many different opportunities for people to meet one another, ask questions, and learn more about our event.
Now, is it just like hey, I'm walking in Relay for Life, will you sponsor me? Or is it like either a paint night or, night at a restaurant? Or how do people fundraise?
There's so many ways.
What are some of
so
your
many ways?
highlights
Okay,
of
so
how
many
people
different
do it?
ways. So pre-COVID, there was a car wash that would happen. I think it was at the American Legion each year. We've done a fire truck pull at the Common before.
Oh
We've
my gosh,
done,
I think I remember seeing one for, I don't know whether it was relay or something.
yeah.
But like people actually pulling a fire truck.
Yes. A bark for life with dogs at a dog park. And then teams have done their own small little separate fundraisers on the side. So people do clothing drives, people do bake sales. Personally, I do for St. Patrick's Day like a Lucky You fundraiser for lottery tickets.
Oh,
I did a
fun.
$25 lottery ticket pool, and I raised a couple $100s just by
Hey,
posting it on my personal social media pages. So I'm hoping to do that again this year as well. But if you just do a couple different fundraising events, it all adds up. And what a lot of my family and friends do is, like you had suggested before, just asking people, hey, I'm, a team captain or a team member for Burlington Relay for Life. Can you sponsor me, or do you want to donate? And you'd be surprised how many people are willing. Every dollar counts, even if it's just $1, $5, what you would spend on a coffee every day.
Exactly.
It all adds up.
Now I'm noticing your really cool T-shirt there.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, that's not on the question either. a lot of times I've seen like team T-shirts. Is that part of the fundraising thing, or is it just a team building thing, or where do
Yes.
people get their designs? Are they, can they have the American Cancer Society logo on it, or?
So if you raise over $100, or if you're a survivor, you'll get a T-shirt.
Oh, cool. We'll work for a T-shirt.
Yeah, everyone will work for a T-shirt. But some teams will make their own T-shirts. So, for example, if they lost a family member or a friend, they might accept our T-shirts, but they might just completely make their own T-shirt.
Okay.
I've seen faces. I've seen like handwritten messages. I've seen it all with regards to T-shirts, and it makes it fun. So ACS logo will come from ACS,
Okay.
but if you see any other T-shirts with faces or names or anything like that, that was their own team
thing.
fundraiser.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. What are some of the fun names? Are there any team names that kind of stand out?
At this time, I think that we only have about 5 or 6 teams, but I have team coach Frank. We have Hanscom Federal Credit Union for a Cure. Miles Fermera has always done it. They haven't signed up yet. But we've had like a lot of different fun
Sometimes
teams.
it's fun just going around and looking at the T-shirts, going, "Oh, that's a cool name," or "That's a cool name," or
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
fun. Okay, I'm just going through. Oh, cancer survivors. Do they need to be on a team?
They don't have to be,
Oh,
no.
Okay.
So if they want to, for example, get a T-shirt, if they want to be on their own team, create a team, or just participate individually, they would be encouraged to sign up online. They don't have to,
Okay.
but it's just encouraged that people sign up ahead of time.
Okay, I'm bouncing around a little bit. We talked about criteria for a team, so the team can pretty much be any size. And if you don't want to be a team of one, you could possibly, reach out to you, you can reach out to you, Nikki, and say, hey, does anybody want an extra person on their team?
Exactly.
Is it that simple?
It is that simple. So you
Oh,
have an
okay.
option when you're signing up to either create your own team or you can join an existing team.
Okay.
So for example, if I said, friend, do you want to join? And friend says yes, they would just simply pull out their phone, go to the website, and when they go to join, you would just type in Team Coach Frank, and it would auto-populate. You just click on it, you type in like your name, your address, your email, stuff
cool.
like that, and as soon as you hit enter, you're good to go. Yeah.
And jumping back to the fundraising question, what types of limitations, if any, are put on fundraisers?
There isn't really, as long as they're like appropriate, if you will.
Okay. Is there somebody who deems it appropriate or not?
No, appropriate is a subjective term, but I think everyone gets the idea.
What are the goals? Do you have goals for the Relay for Life this year?
Yes, we do. So even though we're back in person, we still understand that the COVID-19 pandemic is still happening. So even though we can have it in person, we understand we can't have it as large scale as we have had it in the past.
So you can't have 1,000 people.
Exactly. So we're hoping to have around 100 people or so attend. Of course, with it being from 2 to 9, that allows people to come and go as they please. Whereas in the overnight event, it was more of like once you start, you stay until you stop.
We're kind of locked.
Exactly. So I feel
Maybe
like
not.
having it at the town common makes it a little more easy breezy, and people can just kind of come and go as they please. In past years before COVID, we had a $100,000 goal for the town of Burlington.
Okay.
Pre-COVID, we have exceeded that. We've even won awards nationally for our fundraising efforts. Yes.
That's really cool.
I know, Burlington is
Burlington.
an amazing town. Yeah, we've been very lucky.
Now, who sets that goal?
So ACS sets it just based on what we've done in the past.
Oh, okay.
So $100,000 was before COVID, but this year we're trying to be more realistic and set it at 50,000, and that way if we exceed it, we exceed it,
That still seems like a pretty lofty goal, too.
It is. We're doing everything we can, especially with COVID-19. A lot of people's fundraising efforts have maybe shifted, or it's, everyone had been focused on COVID-19 for so long that, in my opinion, I think it was just kind of in the back of people's minds.
Okay.
So now that we're back in person, we're hoping that we can start picking back up again and start fundraising some more. And then in regards to the amount of teams that we're having, we're hoping to have at least 15. Right now we have 5, but you'd be surprised, like I said, 2 or 3 months before our event is when things really start to pick up.
Okay. Yeah, it's still kind of early for, when did you say the event was? June
18th.
18th. So yeah, probably, March is when you still have a little time.
Yes.
All right. What is the relationship between Relay for Life and American Cancer Society? How does the relay really impact? Is it American Cancer Society's only fundraiser? Is it half their fundraising?
It's approximately half.
Oh, wow, that is a lot.
So they also do Making Strides Against Breast Cancer as well.
Okay.
But 51% as of 2021 was just from Relay for Life.
That's a lot.
It is a lot of money.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how much of that money stays in the Burlington area?
I don't have exact percentages for you. If you want.
Yeah, I know. I'm throwing the statistics at you now.
It's okay.
But you're answering all my questions.
I'm doing the best I can.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So that's relationship. Where's the sheet of
It's
money?
roughly
Yeah, just kidding.
19.
Okay, so thank you for that.
Let's go for numbers.
Okay, so although I don't have percentages, I do have some facts and figures to share. So from fundraising efforts from Relay for Life, the Boston Hope Lodge expansion had increased by 5 new guest suites, additional kitchen space for survivors and their families to cook in, a new fitness center, and a new garden. The fundraising efforts have also provided 1,100 free rides to cancer treatment, provided 1,500 nights of free lodging to over 125 guests from 14 different states. The American Cancer Society has invested over $3 billion in cancer research since 1991. In the Northeast region alone, $507,000 in grants have supported patient transportation, and 8 of those grants have been right here in Boston.
Wow.
And last but not least, our Leahy Health Partnership has allowed us to give $5,000 in community transportation grants to assist with patients in transportation needs.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Wow. So we've talked about the relay itself, and we only have 10 minutes left-ish. But let's talk about, all this research is great, and treatments are great, but how can we prevent the need for all of this fundraising? So, what is the importance of regular screenings, and how can... Yep, we're going on to question number 24.
Thank you.
I jumped over. The importance of regular screenings, or, just taking care of yourself. How can that impact?
Of course. So regular screenings are the most important way to find cancer early before it has a chance to grow and spread. Screening tests are used to find cancer before a person really has any symptoms or can detect it. Before they feel sick.
Really early stages.
Exactly. And early detection is one of the most important assets to finding a cure and making cancer a more livable and manageable disease. But of course, everyone is encouraged to talk to their healthcare provider about their risks and the best screening plan for them. And of course, the types of screenings and when you should get them really depends on your family history as well.
Okay. Because I was going to ask about how family history plays an impact in that.
Your healthcare provider would be able to better assist you on when you should do them, what types of cancer you should be looking out for. There's hundreds of different types, but with a family pedigree, it makes it a little easier to spot which cancers you'd be most prone to getting.
All right. Are there how often do clinical trials come about? Because a friend of mine was diagnosed and traditional cancer treatments weren't working, so she went with a clinic. She had to get approved for a clinical trial. Are those like always going on, or how do you get chosen to be eligible to participate?
So most people who do the like clinical trials, they'll usually hear it about their doctors. But cancer patients can also look online for different options as well. In most cases, the study sponsors provides the new treatment at no cost and will pay for like all of the testing and any additional costs associated with the clinical trials. And I was also on a Relay for Life Summit call a couple of months ago. And one of the speakers actually had gone through a clinical trial. And she was really talking about how much her particular trial was benefiting her.
Good.
Yeah, so it had bought her a lot more time. Unfortunately, the doctors gave her like a certain duration, but she had far exceeded that. So, of course, everyone's different.
So
but
the
it
clinical
does,
trials, though, it does give you the bigger picture of hope, saying, hey, look, we are doing this experiment sounds like so random, where clinical trial sounds like you really know what you're doing, but it is still kind of not confirmed or not known exactly how big of an impact it can make.
Exactly.
And seeing that it is making an impact is promising, and it kind of motivates you to keep participating in the relay.
Exactly. And even just hearing people's stories over the course of years, at a different Relay for Life Summit, for example, someone had been diagnosed with cancer twice, with about 6 or 7 years in between each diagnosis. And she raved about the difference in treatment when she first was diagnosed versus the second time she was diagnosed. So she ranted and raved about how 6 years sounds like a long time, but it's not. How much has changed and how much quicker everything kind of transpired with her second diagnosis. So things are constantly changing and evolving with regards to treatments, and even the patients are noticing a difference as well. Yeah.
Science is real.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry. There's been a lot of focus in today's society on mental health. And going through a cancer diagnosis or going through cancer treatment, to me, yes, it's very physically impacted, but I can't imagine what an impact on your mental health. Does the American Cancer Society also provide or help guide people in taking care of their mental health as well as their physical health?
Yes. So how I had mentioned earlier, we have that 24/7 hotline. I'll give you the telephone number as well. It's 1-800-227-2345. It's 24/7, 365. If you call that number and you explain to them your circumstances or your struggles with mental health, they will help point you into the correct direction as to where to go. And of course, spending time with like family and friends and developing healthy habits will also improve people's mental health as well.
And reaching out, like there must be support groups available.
There definitely is, yes.
Also help that as well. You mentioned the person with the 6-year difference noticing. Kind of just trying to wrap it up. How close is the American Cancer Society in finding either, like a cure for cancer? Do you think it will be during, or what will we see it in our lifetimes?
We think we could find a cure and make it more manageable and livable disease within our lifetime. That's always the goal. Of course, the setback is that there's so many different types of cancers. There's over 300 different types. So of course there's research involved for each different type of cancer. So that makes it a little trickier to say that there's a cure for cancer, where cancer is more of like an overarching umbrella of all these different types. So we're hoping, for now at least, to make it more livable and manageable, but we're hoping in our lifetimes that we can eradicate it entirely.
Or at least some of the 300 and bring it down to like 295.
We'll take as much as we can get.
Exactly. Any other great stories that, you mentioned that the first time when you were in college you participated in relay and it was really impactful. Since you've been involved over the past, few years, what are some of the I will always remember this memories?
Without crying, the comments that my uncle had made about not feeling alone, that Relay for Life had given him hope. A lot of people just kind of coming together in the community, members of the community that are well known, that had cancer diagnoses and had come to Relay for Life. Just seeing everyone kind of come together has really made an impact, especially from the high schoolers. They're usually the main supporters of people in the community.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not have thought that it would be the youth. I would have thought it would be...
And I don't want to mention names, but in the past we've had special laps for certain people in the community that had been diagnosed with cancer. And that will really pull at the heartstrings. Because seeing, a good 20 to 40 people come together and walk with that one particular person just really goes to show, how supportive the Burlington community can be.
And you just really need to let people know that you need that support, because it's there, but a lot of times people aren't sure. People want to help, they just don't know how to help.
Exactly.
So with our 30 seconds remaining, how do you sign up?
Okay, you can sign up www.relayforlife.org/BurlingtonMA. If you like social media, you can also follow us on Facebook at Relay for Life of Burlington MA, and we're also on Instagram at Burlington RFL.
And it's June 18th.
June 18th.
On the Common.
At the Common from 2 to 9 p.m. with a rain date of June 25th.
So get those teams organized. Only takes a team of one or more.
The more the merrier.
Okay, thank you, Nikki, so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm kind of jazzed now for it, so thank you.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank everyone at home for tuning in this evening. I hope you've appreciated and are excited about life returning to normal around Burlington, and hope to see you at the Burlington Relay for Life on June 18th. And in the meantime, I will see you around town. Good night.